All right, so the last thing I wanted to get into was solo content, sort of the gear required to solo each boss right now. And so with the last event, right, they introduced solo. They made a lot of changes, right? So solo mode has a ton of benefits. You get the same amount of coins, you just don't get the chance of the drops. In Lucid, same coins here, 140, 140. Damien has the same coins, hard mode. Lucid, you get slightly less coins, or Butterfly of Dreams, 28 versus 35. Gloom, you'll get pretty much the same. And so there, and Will, you get the same amount of coins, you just won't get the chance of the drop. Okay, so there's huge, huge, huge benefits to solo mode right now. And this is one of the things I'm exploring, especially on my Demon Slayer. I literally soloed every single boss this week on my Demon Slayer, and I had way more fun doing that than doing scheduled runs. Just because it's way more engaging and stimulating. It's just all me. I can do it. That kind of fits my schedule. It fits like I can do all of my bosses at once, and it just feels way more rewarding. And the results, I mean, the resources are there. You still get the same amount of resources. So first things first, let me show you my Demon Slayer's gear, because like it's pretty much in an amazing spot, right? So 74 mil max damage cap, 30% defensive rate. Keep in mind that's with the event. So not this one. This one I get 4% in more enemy defense. So I'm around 30, 34, 35 mil. So this Demon Slayer is a monster, okay? But it's not, so, and it can clear solo will. So my solo will time here was, if you've seen it, sweaty. 1436, 14 minutes plus. And I think in solo mode, again, the hardest thing a lot of the times isn't DPS. It's the 3 death counts that really make it hard to clear. There's just less room for error. You are the aggro. You are taking all the damage. The boss is focused on you, and it's just all you, right? So like in a boss like Will, for example, you got to be able to step behind the boss. You got to see, you got to know rotations. You got to know how to fill your gauge, how to use your iframes, how to do your burst. A lot more factors along with it, right? Because Will is a monster of a fight. 14 minutes long. Test, DPS, you have to be locked in the entire time. It's an extremely challenging boss. And I think like at 70 mil, 35 mil, ignoring my defense, I still think about 80%, probably 90% of the classes will not be able to solo Will with that gear, just because of how hard Will is right now. Not DPS wise, it's phase 3 with the webs and the gauge and just the iframes required, or the defensive cooldowns required to survive that phase 3, because it's still, it has a sort of built-in kind of enrage timer where after a certain amount of time, the webs are just going to overwhelm you. And if you don't have gauge to do it, you're not doing enough DPS, you're screwed, right? There's no place to go. You're going to get stun locked and you're just going to be, it's game over, right? You've seen it in my runs, how many times, how sweaty and close it is. I know Paladins are probably the best class at it that can just kind of breeze through it. But other than that, Demon Slayer is a tier below. And I think most classes would have a really hard time with the cap. So my thinking right now in the current meta, and this may change because there's going to be a rebalance next month, or honestly into the next few weeks. I think probably 80 plus mil max damage cap, at least 30% ignore enemy defense for majority of classes is what you're going to need to solo Will consistently. You may one-off here, clear it, right? But you want to be able to get to that level where you can clear it within 1 buff time, 2 buff time, as long as you get 2 buff sets, as long as you get your mechanics right, as long as you get your kind of your strategy right, and do it weekly, right? Because that's what you want to get to. You don't want to just do a one-off here and get lucky. You want to be able to clear it every week, stress-free, honestly. So you're going to need a little bit more gear, and I think a little bit more HP as well helps. I noticed that because there's a lot of fixed damage skills in Will, like 50k ticks here, 50k ticks there, like they add up, and they're kind of hard to avoid. It's RNG based, and there's just a lot going on that you have to prioritize. So if you don't want to be stuck in a situation where you have too low health and you just randomly get comboed without really having the ability to, I guess, counter it or dodge it, right? Like sometimes you'll just get randomly countered because RNG and the web hit the spider leg hits you at the same time as another attack. You don't want that to happen because the death counts are brutal. But you can see this is a sweaty run. 80 plus mil, probably more max damage cap, probably at least high 200k HP and 30% ignore me defense is what I would recommend for most classes to consistently clear Will solo right now. And then getting into Archon. So if you can clear Will, every boss under here, soloable, is clearable. Even hard mode Archon, okay? The reason why I don't do hard mode Archon is because, and I do normal, is because it takes me 2 minutes. And Archon, don't really care about the resources too much. And like the hard mode, you're gonna eat a lot of power elixirs. Because the strike attacks, the big polearm attacks, actually, like, even if you're standing behind the boss, you're going to, there's a high chance you're going to get hit by it, okay? Because their hitbox is very weird. So let me kind of show you right here. Like the strike, like you're just going to take all this damage. And even if I like stand back behind there or try to dash through, like it just feels like you're just taking 120k ticks all the time. And then you got to avoid it. So like, just dodging is a lot more painful because even if I step back here in some attacks, it feels like I still get hit. Like, I don't know. I tried it and I was like, too sweaty for me. Hard mode. So I think I could do it. But again, the risk reward as far as power elixirs, I just did normal 2 minutes in and out. Okay. So it's pretty straightforward. I think normal or Archon, like I on my win archer, like 33 on my max damage cap, I cleared normal Archon. So, and there's benefits to this too, right? You get achievements for solo mode. So it's definitely not like a normal solo mode. You can get 3 of these. You can get all of this stuff. All like normal multi, you can get this. So there's definitely benefits to clearing like even the normal mode for the achievements, normal solo. But yeah, Archon is like that's just normal mode for me. Now Gloom 5 minutes, casual. Now Gloom is still very challenging because you need HP. You need about 220k plus HP to not just get one-shotted by everything. Okay, so because some attacks hit 190k, 200k, and if you have your PE set to 90%, right? Like that can still kill you if you're low on HP. So just be aware of that. The more HP, the better. That is what usually gates a lot of people. But still, I think you need about probably like 50 max damage cap, 50 mil max damage cap, and probably close to 20 to 25 ignore enemy defense, probably more. And again, it's a grind of a fight. I know a paladin, I know someone plays a paladin, it's about 50-ish mil max damage cap, a little bit higher. They are the exceptions to the rule, right? Paladins can just counter everything. Every other class probably needs a little bit more max damage cap, a little bit more, has less room for error. Okay, so, but you see with my gear, 5 minutes, I think my PR was like 4 something. So it's definitely doable. 3 minutes. No, I don't think I cleared on this one. Yeah, 4 something. Yeah, so this is probably a good spot, and I don't really think I full buffed for this. But yeah, I would say like mid 50 mil caps, 220k HP minimum on like the better survivability classes. Probably need more for like lower tier, and then probably like 20-25 ignore enemy defense. And I'm gonna try it on my Lin later this week, but I have a feeling my Lin isn't gonna be able to do it yet. Lucid is pretty straightforward. Again, it's probably like 30 30 mil max damage cap, 20% ignore enemy defense. But there are some things that you have to really pay attention to.